Good blessed Friday, March the 25th, 2022. It's about 7:34 p.m. I'd like to greet all human beings all around the world with the universal greetings of peace and the blessings of God be with you. It doesn't matter what your political, philosophical, personal, nor your religious beliefs may be. It doesn't matter whether you're the richest to the poorest person on the face of this earth. It doesn't matter if you're the proclaimed toughest to the proclaimed weakest person on the face of this earth. It doesn't matter if you're my family, friends, nor my proclaimed enemies. It doesn't matter if you're dark-skinned or light-skinned, white, black, Asian. It don't matter what your race or color may be or your creed may be. I greet all of you all with that same universal greetings of peace and the blessing of God be with you. It doesn't matter whether you like me or anything I stand for. If you really pay close attention to the things I'm saying, I'm not right about everything. I'm not maybe right about some of my approaches to some people. But you know, after a while, when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, you go up to another level. One thing about me, with like Nehemiah, God told him to build a wall. You see what I'm saying? And don't come down under no circumstances. You see, building a wall is like building a community. You see what I'm saying? When you building a community, then you trying to build a community, especially if your community is positive, you trying to build a community to keep all evil out. If you as the leader come off that wall of building it, your other workers may not get chance to see when the enemy come in, because you have a lot of infiltrators, perpetrators, opportunists. You see what I'm saying? So tonight what I want to talk about is the racism and the indifferences in Carbondale, Illinois, when it comes to the death of black people. When it comes to the death of black people. And this is no disrespect to anybody who have lost a child in Carbondale, Illinois, no matter what their race is. But I want to show you how the Carbondale Police Department in the Jackson County, Illinois prosecuting attorneys operate. The prosecuting attorney for Jackson County, which is located in Murphyboro, Illinois, where the racist corner is located at too. But I want to show you how racist they are. You see, I met with the chief of police in Carbondale, Illinois. I met with the present prosecuting attorney in Carbondale, Illinois. And what I got is not just from talking to them, sitting there with them, looking them in their eyes, I got racism. You see what I'm saying? Even though the chief of police in Carbondale, Illinois is white, and the prosecuting attorney in Jackson County, Illinois, which governs Carbondale, is Spanish. I don't know if he's Puerto Rican or Mexican. I don't care which one he is. But I look at him just like I look at the Ku Klux Klan, like I look at Josh Hawley from the senator in the state of Missouri, like I look at Ted Cruz, the senator in Texas, the state of Texas. I look at all of them. If you look at the confirmation hearings, you will know why for the Supreme Court Justice of Ketanji Brown Jackson, and you see some of them senators see the racism. Even the lady from the state of Tennessee tried to talk real nice as if talking about what her Christian friends want to ask this black justice. They tried to humiliate this lady in front of her two daughters, which is around the ages of my daughters, her husband, her mother, and her father, but she stood her grounds, just like I'm a stand man. Now, in 2012, it was a white female, may she rest in peace. I'm in the group of her fathers for justice for Molly Young. A young white female who in her ex-boyfriend's house, which was a dispatcher for the Carbondale Police Department back in 2012, 10 years ago now. They made a call saying that she OD'd. They had a bottle of pills by one of her hands, I believe her dominant hand, and it was I think a 40 caliber or a big caliber gun by her non-dominant hand, I believe was her left hand. And he said her nose was bleeding. He called, at first he said she OD'd. They was trying to say that she was talking about suicide. This was 10 years ago now. 10 years ago. A decade ago, y'all. Anyway, they had evidence showing scratch marks and everything on this dispatcher, which he was white. His dad was a sheriff deputy, I believe, in Franklin County, Illinois. But my point is, they said they ruled her case as a suicide 10 years ago now. The newspaper in Carbondale, the SIU Egyptian, WSIL Channel 3, all of them put this in the news now. A white female. But now, it was a different prosecuting attorney at the time. I believe his name was Carr. But they voted him out. Molly's dad and a lot of other people voted for this Spanish guy that's in office right now. I believe his name is Joe or Joseph Chavez or something like that there. They remember this. Listen what I'm saying. They voted for him. He voted for him to get him out, get Carr out, and get this Spanish guy that's the prosecuting attorney now. Now I want you to look at this here video that I'm finna show you 10 years later. Now, this is an anniversary of the death of Molly. You see, before Molly's, back in February of this year, but back in 2014, an Indian guy from Morton Grove, Illinois, that was a Carbondale, Illinois SIU student, an Indian guy, they claimed that he wandered in the woods. He was drunk, wandered in the woods with no shirt on in February in the winter, and he died of hypothermia. 4 years later, see, his family had support. His family had white television shows and documentary people backing them, just like Molly Young's dad did. Remember this here now. They had backing of their family. They had backing of governors and senators. They had backing of these documentary shows and activists backing them. So 4 years later, Proveen, the Indian individual, they arrested a white guy and they got him for murder and robbery. He was found guilty by a jury of his peers. But when he went back to get his time, now, murder and robbery, the judge threw it out on a technicality for one word being given to the jury. Knowingly, he assaulted this guy, knowingly he was going to die. So the judge threw that out. But this prosecuting attorney, he met with Proveen's mother in February. You see what I'm saying? Marking the anniversary of his death. And he just met with Molly Young's dad, or he was on the news talking about Molly's case, looking back into it. Remember, it was a suicide. They said she talked about suicide. That's the same thing they said about my son. But I want you to look at this prosecuting attorney. Don't let him fool you because he's Spanish. He ain't no different than Adolf Hitler. Listen to him. You're going to hear Molly's dad first. And like I said, this is no disrespect to Molly or her dad.
His daughter Molly Larry Young is still searching for justice. News 3's Madeline Parker spoke with him about his faith that one day this case will be solved.
I believe that Molly was murdered.
Molly Young was 21 years old when she was found dead in her ex-boyfriend's apartment with a gunshot wound to her head. Her ex-boyfriend, a dispatcher for Carbondale police, originally reported the death as an overdose, but called shortly after, saying she had been shot. In the cause and manner of death document, Young's death remains undetermined. Her ex-boyfriend was never charged in the case. 10 years later, Molly's father, Larry Young, continues searching for answers.
In the last couple years, I've had some experts contact me wanting to help, and they have been. They've got a lot of new evidence that has never been investigated yet.
The new information gives Larry hope for Molly's case.
Yeah, and that's one reason that I believe it'll give the present state's attorney a more of a advantage to do something about this case.
The Jackson County State's Attorney says his office will keep pushing for answers.
Questions that need to be answered. And just because it hadn't been prosecuted or hasn't been prosecuted yet doesn't mean that the family are not victims, that she's not a victim. We'll keep asking questions, we'll keep pushing forward and seeing if there can be a resolution to this case.
And after the anniversary of her death, Larry says it's time for the truth to come forward.
This is a travesty and has been for 10 years, and there's not been any coldness to it. It's constantly been on people's minds, and it's time for to get it resolved.
In Carbondale, Madeline Parker, News 3.
Sunday afternoon, the group...
Now, did y'all hear that? Her dad said, Molly's dad said it was a travesty. You see what I'm saying? And I agree with him. Did you hear the prosecuting attorney said the family is a victim now? Now, see, I talked to this same prosecuting attorney, I believe it was September the 23rd of 2021. Me and a minister from Marion, Illinois, and one from Florida, for him to tell me whether or not that he was going to close my son's case as a suicide or investigate it. And he told me he tried to hand me a pen and a piece of paper and told me to go find the individual I think that killed my son and write their name down, and he won't declare it a suicide. He had already declared it a suicide. The police, the Carbondale, Illinois police department declared it a suicide. They claimed that they had a death investigation. When you have a death investigation, just like with Molly and Praveen and any other white person in Carbondale, Illinois. You see what I'm saying? When you have a death investigation, you want the public to know about it so you can get information from the public, not going out to certain individuals that snitches for you out in the streets and come back and say what they say, Brian was suicidal. You see what I'm saying? The hospital said he was suicidal. Now, but see, the WSLI or WSIL 3 News, you see 10 years later that they covering this, and I give it to Larry. You see what I'm saying? But see, I'm the wrong color. WSIL Channel 3 and all of these other professionals that Larry and Praveen family got, they won't do it for me because I didn't contact all of them. You see what I'm saying? I didn't contact all of them. I contact these white activists that advocated for them to investigate it, but they wouldn't even respond to me. I filed with the NAACP, a predominantly black-ran civil rights organization in Carbondale, Illinois. I filed with them via email May the 11th, 2021. Talk to the head person, the chairperson of their criminal department. Female, black female, Talk to the president. They ain't did nothing. But you see, that shows you how they discriminate. Now, this same prosecuting attorney, I asked him, was he going to prosecute this white female school teacher that teaches in Carbondale, Illinois, for the Carbondale, Illinois Rebound High School, 2 blocks down, 2 blocks south of where my son was found hung at. She was spending his food stamps on April the 29th, 39 days after my son was dead. This was the prosecuting attorney asked me, this same one you seen on here that's speaking about this case that's 10 years old, that they said that she was supposed to have been talking about suicide. This man asked me, what do you want me to do? You want me to prosecute her and her husband? The 2 ministers looked at him like I did. If it was your child, what would you have did? Or if it was a white person who you claim committed suicide and a black person was spending their food stamp, what would you do with them? You see, you don't want to lose the white vote. You see what I'm saying? Y'all don't want it to be known that a white female and her black husband had my son's food stamp card. My son was black. My son was on drugs. My son was homeless, and my son been to the pen. See, the key thing that show that they don't want to do nothing for my son is because he was black. You see what I'm saying? Then you got these black Negroes in Carbondale, Illinois, chasing all this government grant money, especially some of them black females that the shoe fit wear. They chasing after, they even meeting with the prosecuting attorney and the police. But never once have any of them met with me concerning my son's death. My son was found with money balled up in his hand. Look at the videos. Money balled up in his hand. The other hand like this. A cut right here across his hand. 3 fractured ribs. And on the side of on one of his sides, you can see grass where somebody done dragged him, because they dragged him from somewhere through grass and put him up there. You see what I'm saying? He had rashes on the side from burns from being dragged. You see what I'm saying? He had drugs in his socks. What drug addict gonna commit suicide with money in their hand and drugs in their socks? The police, CSI, or the police detectives, nor even the deputy coroner, none of them found these drugs in his socks. When he would get time to get an autopsy, the pathologist found the drugs in his socks. But what I want to show y'all is, they closed this case in August sometime. The prosecuting attorney, August of 2021, the prosecuting attorney, when they got the case from the police department, the prosecuting attorney closed the case in September 2021. But let me show you something here. Now, how could you close a damn death investigation when I want y'all to look at the date? Look what this say. This is the Illinois State Police, who supersedes the prosecuting attorney, who supersedes the Carbondale, Illinois chief of police in City Hall. You see what I'm saying? In the sheriff department. Look at the date that this here was sent to them. They got this here. I believe it's October the 19th of 2021. Did I say that right? October, look. These is the reports from the Illinois State Police. And look what it said. On the knot. Now, they ain't got this back yet. The knots, that after they cut my son down, a couple of the knots had 3 characters on it. When we talking about characters, it had 3 different people's DNA on it. One that couldn't be excluded was my son. It's his belt, so we know it's going to be on there. But it was 2 unknown. Listen, 2 unknown. This was this saying. But they closed the case before they even got this. So I know they ain't read it. I know they ain't did no investigation. Because he was black. He was on drugs. He was homeless and he been to the pen. But now, how is you going to close the investigation when the top official here? You see, the pathologist didn't even have this here. But the pathologist going on everything they said. A couple of times they claimed my son said he wanted to commit suicide. He didn't have no t-shirts on. If they was really doing their job, the white female that changed her story that found my son, claims she found my son, t-shirts on the 3rd floor in another side of the building. Because my son was on the 3rd floor on the Oakland side, and on the Sycamore side, which is right around the corner, on the 3rd floor, his t-shirt, she claims she found them in front of her house. I mean, in front of her apartment. It's 6 apartments. 3rd floor, 2nd floor, and 1st floor. She was on the 3rd floor, to the left. Let me tell y'all before I forget, I've made so many YouTubes and gone over there so many times because it was suspicious about her. She done mysteriously moved about 3 months ago. They just not finding out she moved. But she said she found the t-shirts by her door. That's what she told me. At 8 o'clock in the morning, she told the police. But when they seen my videos, her 8 o'clock in the morning versus what the police was saying in their reports didn't meet up. So the chief of police, and it's in the Freedom of Information Act, the chief of police had the detective that called himself investigating. He had him to go back and talk to this female. Guess what? She changed from 8 o'clock to 11:13. And then they said she took the t-shirts in her house. If she took these t-shirts in her house and took time to take pictures of it the way that she claimed it was on top of each other neatly, then she take one and put it to the side and take one, then go to the 2nd floor in the hallway and take a picture of a mask. How you know it's his? That's his mask. Go downstairs and see a broken fire extinguisher, a box missing. The fire extinguisher was missing. Then go outside to Mr. Winter now, right around the corner on the side of the building, found an axe that they seen on a lady's doorbell camera at 24 minutes after midnight. It could have been 24 seconds, but I think it was 24 minutes after midnight on March the 19th, the day that they claimed they found him dead, with an axe with no duct tape on it. When she took the pictures of it, it had duct tape on it. But they show you that if any other investigators would have been actually investigating, they would have took and got to see if they find any blood in my son in this woman's house, especially since she took these shirts in there. If she took the shirts in there, why didn't she take the mask? If she took the shirt in there, why didn't she take the mask in the axe in her house? What did she take them in her house for? The police hadn't even talked to her. She had pictures of these 3 items before the police even had it. Before the people in the building knew he was murdered. You see, he was dragged somewhere. But my bottom line is, do you think, I don't honor this flag, but I don't throw it away because my dad was in World War II. This flag don't represent me and my family. This flag don't represent my son. Look at that racist prosecuting attorney and that racist chief of police and that no good NAACP. Every one of y'all except the one brother that been standing up with us. Now, you NAACP national chapter that was sending letters to the Cook County judge for Jesse Smogan, whatever his name is, after he done committed a crime. Investigate what my son, this 2021 lynching. Those of y'all that sat in the courtroom with Ahmaud Arbery family, George Floyd family, and the rest of the people that's been getting killed by white police. What about my son? Oh, that's right, he's black. He was on drugs. He was homeless, and he been to the pen. And then I'm going to just say this here. I thank my oldest daughter and my family that been helping me try to get justice for my son. Going out there and doing things, talking to people, study communicating with me, doing this here. But, I wonder how many family and friends did Brian really have? I can only speak for me and my children and my grandchildren and my family. I can't speak for nobody else because ain't nobody else been helping me. People been making promises, talking about money for a headstone, talking about money for a reward, but ain't none of it materialized. But you don't owe me nothing. You see what I'm saying? I don't even want it now. If my oldest daughter want to accept it, she can. I don't want nobody that ain't been contacting me, that ain't tried to help this. That's why we can't get no justice. It's taking so long. But I'm going to just say this here. That prosecuting attorney, anybody that's white, anybody that's black, or any other nationality that stand for justice, I don't care if this prosecuting attorney is speaking up about Proveen and Molly's case. You need to vote him out. You see, injustice anywhere is a threat to injustice everywhere. You see what I'm saying? With all due respect, you see what I'm saying? My son has so many things to show. A white woman claims she found his wallet 2 days later, 5 blocks away, wrapped up real good, just sitting on some stairs. How likely is that? How likely is the white woman that found his t-shirts, mask, and this axe that he had? How likely is she gonna find it before the police and take pictures and the police just dismiss her? Ain't went in her house to see if any blood, because wherever he was murdered at, blood was somewhere, because it only had 1 drop of blood on one of his gym shoes, 1 drop of blood on the front of his pants, 1 drop of blood on the back of his pants, and you could see blood wasn't spreading all over his hand. You see what I'm saying? So he died somewhere else, and they sat him up there. You see what I'm saying? But do you think the news people care in Carbondale? No. And this ain't to all white people, but I can't get no white or black coverage. They ain't printed my son case in the newspaper. They ain't spoke about it in no news outlet, not one time. Y'all stop falling behind them sellout females and males that's black in Carbondale and chasing after this government money. You see, the NAACP chairperson for the criminal department that ain't stood up about my son, but talked to the chief of police and the prosecuting attorney without me being there about my son. They showed her something in this last city council meeting on Zoom Tuesday. I believe it was March the 22nd. I heard her when they called Miss Maxwell, when she was trying to tell them about the flag that they want, the Union flag they wanted to put in this park. She said, oh, we done had hangings in here in Carbondale, Illinois all this time. They shut her down. They don't give a damn about you. Just like you don't give a damn about my son. These white folks, racist white folks, I ain't talking about all white folks, them racist white folks in City Hall showed you what they think about you, and you still selling people out. Peace be still.